A man leads another man into his home, points to his own wife, and tells him to stay the night. Then he steps outside, and he smiles. In our world, that is a betrayal, the beginning of a fight. In much of the ancient world, it was something else entirely. It was a gift, and it kept children alive. For most of history, in cultures spread all across the planet, humans did something that sounds shocking to modern ears. They share their husbands and their wives, openly, on purpose, and not because they were immoral, but because it was one of the smartest survival tools they had. So today's question will twist your idea of family into a new shape. Why did ancient humans share their wives? Were they primitive? Were they immoral? Or had they solved a brutal survival problem that our comfort has let us completely forget? To find the answer, we need a jungle where a baby can have 3 fathers, a frozen coast where swapping partners was life insurance, and a mountain village where brothers marry the same woman to save the farm. None of it is about lust. All of it is about staying alive. Let's open the file. First, let's kill the assumption hiding underneath the question. We treat one man and one woman, together for life, as the natural, eternal, obvious shape of a human family, as if it were written into biology itself. It is not. Across human history, people have built families in a stunning variety of ways. And again, in places that never met and never spoke, they arrived at the same surprising idea. In a hard world, sharing a partner is not a weakness. It is a strategy. Start in the rainforests of South America. Here, among many peoples, there is a belief about how babies are made that changes everything. They thought a child was not built from one father, but slowly, over time, from many. Anthropologists call it partible paternity, the idea that a baby is built up from the contributions of every man involved with the mother during her pregnancy. So a single child could have 2 fathers, 3, sometimes more, and every one of them was considered a real father with real duties. To us, that sounds like a recipe for chaos. But look at what it actually did. Each of those fathers was now responsible for the child. Each one brought meat from the hunt. Each one offered protection. A child with 2 or 3 fathers had 2 or 3 men, making sure it never went hungry. And this was not just a nice theory. Anthropologist Stephen Beckerman studied the Bari people of Venezuela, and he counted. He found that a child with a secondary father was significantly more likely to survive childhood. 16% more likely to reach the age of 15. Think about what that number really means. In a world with no doctors, no hospitals, no safety net of any kind, sharing a mother between fathers was not a sin. It was quite literally a way to keep more babies alive. The extra father was extra food, extra safety, extra life. Now travel to the other end of the earth, to the frozen coasts of the Arctic. Here, among some Inuit communities, there was a custom that outsiders found scandalous, and that was in truth a brilliant piece of social engineering. In this world, a man and a woman alone could not survive a bad winter. You needed allies, other families who would share food when your hunt failed, and take in your children if you died out on the ice. And the deepest way to bind 2 families together was to exchange partners. Spouse exchange created a bond as strong as blood. Once 2 men had shared partners, their families were tied together for life. They hunted together. They fed each other's children. If one man froze to death, the other was now bound to care for the widow and the little ones he left behind. So it was not really about the night together at all. It was insurance. In a place that could kill you in an afternoon, sharing a partner bought your children a second family that was sworn to protect them. It was in the harshest place on earth, an act of love wearing a strange disguise. For the third case, climb high into the mountains of Tibet, and you meet the strangest arrangement of all. Here, it was common for a woman to marry not one man, but several brothers at once. All of them, together, one wife and every brother in the family is her husband. It is called fraternal polyandry, and once again, the reason is not romance. It is dirt. High in the Himalayas, farmable land is desperately rare. And there's an iron rule of survival up there. You must never, ever divide the family farm. Because if 3 brothers each marry a different woman, they split the tiny farm 3 ways, and every family gets a plot too small to feed itself. Everyone slowly starves. But if all 3 brothers share one wife and raise their children together, the farm stays whole. The family stays strong. And this is not some vanished ritual from the distant past. As recently as 1988, a survey of over 700 Tibetan families found that 13% of them were still living exactly this way. Brothers sharing one wife to keep their land and their children safe. So step back and look at all 3 together. A jungle, a frozen coast, and a mountaintop. 3 worlds that never touched. And every one of them, on its own, invented a way to share a partner. That cannot be a coincidence. It is a pattern. And the pattern is always the same. Sharing was never about weak morals or runaway desire. Every single time, it was cold, practical math. It spread risk across more people. It pooled food and labor and protection. And above all, it kept fragile children alive in a world with no mercy. Which points to a truth we do not like to say out loud. Marriage between one man and one woman, alone, forever, may be less a law of nature and more a luxury of abundance. It is what you can afford when food is plentiful and one family can survive completely on its own. So the real question was never why ancient humans shared their wives. Given their world, of course they did. It was often the difference between a child who lived and a child who died. The real question is about us. We look at these customs and call them primitive or backward or wrong. But they were solving a problem of survival with breathtaking cleverness. We only get to live one family per household, sealed off and alone, because we are wrapped in a level of comfort and safety our ancestors could never have dreamed of. Strip that comfort away, take a village back to a world of scarcity and real danger, and humans reinvent these arrangements again and again, every single time. Our ancestors were not immoral. They were engineers of survival, building families strong enough to outlast a merciless world. Maybe they understood something about raising children together that we, alone in our separate houses, have quietly forgotten. Tomorrow's file is one of the strangest yet. In some ancient rituals, people would swallow small fish whole while they were still alive and wriggling, and they had a very real reason to do it. Why did ancient humans swallow live fish? Subscribe and find out tomorrow.